a corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also.
A blessed good day to you, my wisdom warriors. Wagwan, wagwan. I hope you guys are in good spirit.
So I've been hearing this call for unity because of the destruction left in Jamaica by Hurricane Melissa. And you've been watching, you probably know what I'm talking about. Towns have been destroyed, communities destroyed, lives have been destroyed, lives have been lost. And obviously unity is important, it's necessary, it's productive, it's progressive. We need to get everybody back on the same page because we have to rebuild Jamaica, we have to rebuild the economy, right? Things stay bad right now, honestly. But the truth is, not every call is a good call. Not every call is coming from a good place, right? Because what is nonsense is calling for unity and expecting everybody to hug up one another and sing kumbaya and keep at their mouth, which is what a lot of people mean when they say we need to unite. And it's nonsense expecting all of that if the government is not doing what it's supposed to do. Now, yes, we want to see government and opposition working together. Yes, obviously, right? We want progress. We want to see them working together in the national interest. And a really nice example of that was recently when we saw a joint statement come out from the Education Minister, Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon, as well as the opposition spokesperson on education, Damian Crawford. And they said in this joint statement that they jointly support the reopening of schools safely and as quickly as conditions permit. They said they support expanding psychosocial support for students, educators, and staff impacted by Hurricane Melissa. Now, the minister said our students can't become long-term victims of short-term shocks. We want them to return to a safe school environment. They want to support reopening and recovery, and that they were expanding access to counseling and psychosocial services. And Damian Crawford now said, this is a moment for unity. Hear that? He said, I support a school-led approach to reopening that protects health and safety while minimizing further learning loss. And he also called for robust psychosocial support for children, parents, and educators. And that statement came at a time when there was a lot of debate after the hurricane. Was it too soon to start talk about reopening schools? And I think a lot of people appreciated this joint statement. I know I did, because as I said, you do want to see the opposition and government working together, especially at a time like this, in the national interest for children, for people, for our country. But, so here comes the but. Yes, be very careful, because not all of these calls are coming from a negotiated and discussion-led meeting of the minds. Some of these calls are not coming from anywhere authentic. Because you know what some of these calls for unity are? Because they sound suspiciously to me like people trying to shut up the critics and anyone who is raising concerns about the hurricane relief process. All right, it looked to me, for instance, that there's a fundamental lack of understanding of what it is that members of parliament are supposed to do. And I suspect in some cases, this fundamental lack of understanding is quite deliberate. Now, I don't care if MPs are from JLP, PNP, opposition, or government. MPs have a job to do. So opposition MPs now, who are saying their constituencies that suffered direct hits by the hurricane were being ignored, who are raising concerns about the hurricane relief response to their constituents, they were being told, don't politicize a disaster. What the hell? Look, man, they are literally doing their job. Members of parliament are elected by their constituents to go to parliament and advocate for them, to do literally that, represent them in Gordon House, to speak out for the people who elected them, you know. I know always say when we look at parliament sometime it look like a bag of people are bang, 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 pon this, bang, 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 pon this, but that's not what they're there for. So for instance, one of the MPs, opposition MPs that has been most vocal about the lack of an early response in his constituency was Dayton Campbell. You've probably heard him because he's been talking everywhere. Now bear in mind, he represents Eastern Westmoreland. Eastern Westmoreland is where the eye of the hurricane made landfall. That is where you would expect catastrophic damage. damage, and government has taken far too long to get relief to Westmoreland and Eastern Westmoreland in particular. So for instance, here's what this ITV reporter Robert Moore said. That's a foreign journalist. He said this has been an immensely frustrating hurricane relief effort to report on, one of the saddest in my years of covering extreme weather events. Hopes were high that we would witness a textbook emergency response. Jamaica has powerful friends overseas. We knew this storm was coming days before it made landfall. This was not an earthquake that could not be predicted. Kingston Airport quickly reopened to commercial and cargo flights. The roads from Kingston to the ravaged parishes in the west are challenging but adequate to run food and aid convoys. The medical needs in Black River and Whitehouse, Brompton and other inland communities are significant but not overwhelming. Field clinics would have made a huge difference. And yet here we are a week on, and I have yet to see any significant government or international presence on the ground beyond a few soldiers and police officers on patrol. And that post accompanied a story he did from some of the affected areas with people just absolutely desperate for help. In fact, the PNP held a press conference to say, look, our constituents are suffering, we need help. And they got cussed off for that. So let me try and understand what we're saying, right? There's something wrong with the people's elected representatives calling out lack of resources and lack of help in their constituencies. There's no way you can be doing your job, right? If the relief response in your area hasn't been adequate, if your people are suffering and you now make noise and make noise loudly. But then again, you have the fact that anyone at all, whoever they are, expert, specialist, member of the public, anybody at all who criticizes the response is attacked, and JLP supporters then go, oh, they must be PNP, they must be partisan. Look, man. One of the problems here is that the trolls have taken over social media and they attack anyone who says anything they don't like. But you know something? Social media is not Jamaica, right? Jamaican people have sense, and they know what is nonsense, and then can pick out any sense from nonsense. And if it's pure nonsense, they will know that as well. And I can tell you categorically, all the trolls have managed to do is to discourage the conversation taking place on platforms like X, but those conversations of concern are happening in WhatsApp groups all over the place. Look, yes, we know this is a category 5. We know it's unprecedented. That does not mean that there are not legitimate concerns about the relief effort, especially the early response, and that there are not concerns now, and that there will not be concerns in the future. We should be free to raise those concerns without being attacked and being told to go and unite and being told that we're not patriotic. Because this idea that there shouldn't be any criticism of the government at this time, let's all unite around the government, meaning shut up and just cheer them on with everything they're doing, it is a terrible idea, and it is not in the national interest. Because the truth is, there is a particular brand of politics that's now being practiced in such country, right? Where politicians tell you that such and such is happening, and yet when you look on the ground, that is not what is taking place. Do not fall for this if it is being practiced here. If you're being told everything good, everything fine, everything crisp, but your own eyes on the ground, I'm not talking about fake news on social media, you are seeing that this is not the case, don't let people browbeat you into silence or doubt the evidence of your own eyes. And I said something in my last video on hurricane scammers, I'm going to repeat it now. The most patriotic thing we can do is to insist that we know what happens to all the relief money and supplies coming into Jamaica. The most loving thing we can do for the devastated victims of Hurricane Melissa is to call out foolishness, call out incompetence, call out thiefness right now. The most unifying thing we can do, you hear, I am using the word unity. And I'm saying the best way to get there is to look beyond the bag of words, look at what is actually happening, and to call it out if the two don't match. So what do you think? Comment below. All right, keep it civil as always. Like the video, share it with somebody who might be interested.
Without food, shelter, or even a bed to rest on. But amid the devastation, one initiative is restoring hope. Member of Parliament Dr. Dayton Campbell is calling on individuals, organizations and our diaspora to adopt a family, helping to provide direct, tailored support that meets their real needs on the ground. He joins us to tell us more. Good morning.
Very good morning.
Thanks so much for being here.
I want to say good to see you, but I know you want to look at your bed and say good to see you.
I haven't seen you in a while.
Yes. You've been doing so much. You know, I mean, we want to get an update like today. What is the real reality, the ground reality of what is now current as of today in Eastern Westmoreland?
Okay, so Eastern Westmoreland is where New Hope is. So that's where landfall was. And the eye of the hurricane, which carries the eye wall, which is the most dangerous part of the hurricane, went right across the constituency. And, you know, in the first 2 days, there was zero communication, so a lot of persons didn't hear a lot from Westmoreland, and I think that caused persons to believe that it was okay. The silence was not comfort, it was actually a desperate cry for help. So what we've had total destruction. I think our estimates continue to change as we get more information. I think we're now at about 5,000 houses that have been totally destroyed. And Westmoreland had a higher number of board houses to begin with. And so you can imagine 200 miles per hour is going to devastate board houses. I have probably another 5,000 that are without roofs totally, and then some that are without roofs partially. The police stations have been destroyed. In Bluefields, the police are under a tent. Health centers. I'm grateful to Minister Tufton that we've gotten a field health center in White House, so at least we can start to see some of those persons. And he has given as well a mobile unit that can go into some of the more remote locations. And Samaritan Purse, the NGO out of the state, is also the ones that contributed the field clinic, and they are able to also airlift their members to some of the communities that are more remote and cut off. And so that has caused a little bit of sunshine as persons gain a little bit of access. The gas stations were also totally destroyed. Most commercial buildings, you know, when you look at the trees, there isn't a tree with a green leaf on it in the constituency, and it's total devastation. We've tried to set up 2 locations, one in White House, one in Darliston, where we can get items stored and then try to distribute it from there to the inner lands, because a concern that I currently have is that most persons that are coming in to help, and we are very grateful for that, but they tend to go to the more populated areas, and the same individuals tend to be benefiting on a repeat. The elderly, shut-in, infirmed, disabled persons in the more remote areas are not getting any assistance. And so what we're trying to do is to collect the items and then package them in smaller units and take them to those areas.
Including mothers and children as well.
Absolutely. The shelters are still active. I think we have probably over 200 persons in shelters across the constituency as well. And so the Adopt a Family initiative is geared towards streamlining the assistance so that it can be more meaningful and more impactful in its distribution. And so it's not legal adaptation.
I was going to ask you, like, and how do you decide how donors are paired with families? How does that work? Like, if you could walk me through the Adopt a Family initiative so anybody watching can have a better understanding of what that means.
Sure. So the concept, as I said, is so that we can get help directly to the families, as opposed to the piecemeal approach that is currently taking place. And so it is up to the donor what they want to contribute. So we've left it very open. So you could adopt a family that you say, all right, I want to help them to re-roof a house. Or you could adopt a family to say that, all right, I want to help them to get back on their feet with a business. A barbershop may have been destroyed, or whatever it is, and you want to assist with that. Or you may just want to provide food items or back-to-school supplies. Or you could want to participate in the container housing solution that we're trying to do for them. Because when we made the assessment, I figured that the only way to get them shelter in the short term is containerized housing. And we were able to check to do some negotiations, and we can get a unit for about 3,500. And so that is probably the big part of the program. And if we can get about 3,000 of those units, then we'll be able to provide shelter for quite a lot of persons that are in need. people who are interested in donating, they are going to go with historical lineage, whether their parents or some family member came from a particular community, or specifics. I am prioritizing single mothers. So single mothers who have 2 or more children, I think we have to prioritize them so that they, being in this vulnerable situation, at least you can provide them with a roof over their heads. We've gotten over 200 persons thus far saying that they're interested in participating in the program. And as I said, the need is very extensive. We estimate that about 5,000 homes have been totally destroyed, not damaged, totally destroyed, just the rubble that is there. And so I'm grateful for those persons, and I'm appealing to others. You know, you can, if you want to travel to the area, you want to get in touch, if you want the church to select the person, if you want the CDC to select the person, even if you want the persons from the other party to select the person. I have absolutely no politics in this. Politics is on pause. It's a humanitarian effort to reach out to persons who are in need. And so persons, we've developed a website as well that we'll launch that will ask persons that they can upload. They can upload the image of their home or what used to be their home. They can give a detail to say, all right, this is a mother, she's 30, she has 2 children or whatever it is. And so you could go on and you could actually scroll through and decide which family you want to. We're going to launch it today, right after this interview.
We need to stay tuned for that. Yes.
I remarked earlier that I was moved by your very real, candid response and emotional appeal when I saw you in Parliament recently. And I know it came from a real place, you know, some things you can't forge, you know. I went on the weekend, last weekend, to see for myself, because I've been watching the videos. So let me just go. And it's real, and what you have said is really true, that when you go and experience it yourself, it changes how you see it. The perspective changes. But what's one thing that you would have done or could recommend in terms of disaster response planning that could have been done or could be done now?
Well, actually more than one. I think the JDF should come on there some areas. So in White House, I think they should come on there an area where there's JDF presence, and so we can bring in the supplies there, we can sort, and then they assist us in getting into the community. So there's a security component. At that location, they need to set up tents to provide temporary shelter, put in some cots. They need portable toilets, portable showers, and those other things. I've put up 2 water stations, one in White House and one in Darliston, that you can truck water to, so at least people can have access to potable water. But I think that emergency response where those services can be provided, that needs there needs to be that sort of outpost in White House, in Darliston, in Betheltown, and in the Leamington Division, because of the severe dislocation that has been created.
Wow. We have to learn from these things, and they literally help us to set up in a different way, because who knows when and this could ever happen in any other part of the country as well,
that's the
too.
thing. When persons ask me why was there this large number of board houses to begin with, and it's because of land tenureship in the constituency. Most people don't own the land, and therefore they put a temporary structure on it. And so I think in the rebuilding process we have to try and sort out those issues as well. And I don't think it is smart to go back and build the same sort of board houses, because they're going to be exposed to the same.
Indeed.
That's true.
We're so grateful for everything you're doing. Thank you for being here this morning. And I love this initiative of Adopt a Family, and I hope lots more people get involved to be able to help everybody get back on their feet again in a real way.
Thanks much.
So thanks so much for being here. Many thanks to Eastern Westmoreland MP Dr. Dayton Campbell for checking in this morning. Your morning news is coming up next.
It never happened to Kingston. There's no real bomber ass clotting, blood clot missing, and the barrel them half empty. See, it never happened to Kingston. There's no real for nobody at Kingston for your teeth, nothing from the people of Jamaica. You understand me? But I saw on the stay, have a dirty, crowbait, reptobate, blood clot mentality, and break my fucking heart. You understand me? I should have come down and come go to some scandal back, because of that on the blood clot deserve. You know? You see it? Right? When I look no clout, and we know the people in the dire streets. So we have a thief from poor people, and thief from people who go through such a hard time. Who are broken at the barrel. Broken at the barrel, and so we ask a question. Where is the oversight? Where are the security measures? Because you can't go through the airport and fart. So how somebody leave the airport with so much things, all these things where these packages come tampered with. Right? On think that nice? A whole lot of people up here, so Barrington flying, it's a plane that come to Jamaica, come go to things and crash. So Barrington make 2 flights, them fly Monday and them fly Tuesday. 2 big rascal cargo plane. All if you know say, when we open the package, everything tampered, everything, one I do, we don't really deal with. We can't continue, so. We cannot continue like this. It's painful. Because we're up on the battlefield, I'm on even I'm from man, I run up and down and I meet people left, right, and center to secure something for my nation, right? All if me not secure, when it just hurt my feelings, the blood clot, I don't have no idea. I not talk the common people, I talk the thief, the money with them with a Norman man, the airport, okay? Because when the cargo plane and they say it land, right? And the amount of things you're missing my people, it hurt me very fucking hard. I treat them blood clot, if you cut me, don't find a drop of blood.
Yes, me I left it. Wanna tell me what you think, wanna tell me how you feel about this, and put an honest opinion in the comment section. Like up the video, share it out, and subscribe to my channel. And if you're new to my channel, welcome and big up on a nice clean self. One love.